Hello, so today I would like to talk about how to approach a conversation with somebody who's always accusing you of being oversensitive. Okay, so do you hear a lot, oh, you're overreacting, or oh, you get so emotional, I can't talk to you, or there's just no way you can have a calm conversation with you? If you do hear these things, my first tip of advice would be to think about how you are responding to things. So not that it's a bad thing to be sensitive. It's not a bad thing to be sensitive. Being sensitive actually is a wonderful thing. It's just how you channel that sensitivity and if you're aware of that sensitivity so that you can react in the most productive way while still embracing the strengths of being sensitive. So my first step would be in approaching this conversation with someone else would be first you want to acknowledge that you see things differently. You are sensitive. And yes, you see things differently, but it's not a negative thing. So you can say, okay, I know that we don't see eye to eye on this topic. I approach it in a much maybe more emotive way. We have different styles. And then you want to get into setting your boundaries. Even though we have different styles and different ways of communicating, I feel very hurt or offended or disrespected when I hear words like, or when things are said about me in this way, or when I feel that I am being accused of X, Y, and Z. So in stating that, you are putting your boundaries because you're feeling disrespected, you're feeling insulted, but at the same time, you're not diminishing the fact that you're sensitive as in putting being sensitive as a negative thing, because it's not necessarily a negative thing. And at the same time, you are not using you statements. By using you statements, you could have someone become closed-minded, or they could become defensive, or they could react negatively, and so the conversation will stop and not go in a productive manner forward. The third thing you want to do is you want to try to find a solution which finds the middle ground. So again, you don't need to put your sensitivity to the side, not at all, but you want to embrace your sensitivity so that it is constructive. So you've acknowledged that you're sensitive, you know this about yourself, you know that you have a tendency to react in a certain way to certain topics, but you want to find a good solution because you want to be able to communicate effectively with someone who is maybe not as sensitive as you are. So you want to approach it in a way in which you are emotionally intelligent about it, and at the same time you're still respecting your boundaries where the other person is not using disrespectful language or is using words or communication style that is not respecting you or giving you what you need from that conversation. And the fourth thing is you want to try to approach and ask, can we figure out a middle ground where we communicate to each other, where I am more aware of my sensitivity and I use it productively, or I am less emotive in my reactions, but at the same time you can meet me a little bit closer to a more sensitive area versus always becoming, let's say, defensive or always taking a ground that is maybe purely logical and not taking into account that there may be another perspective and way of seeing this. So I hope that is helpful the next time you're in a discussion with someone and that person has a very polar opposite perspective and or communication style than you do, where you are very sensitive and this person is potentially not particularly sensitive. Thank you, and I hope that's helpful.